Okay, we've come quite a long way to get to this part, and on this way we've learned lots of great and useful techniques that in the next few videos we'll put into motion.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
We will also learn just a few simple and easy new tricks. In this first video we're going to create or recreate maybe this logo that I've put together for you, and it is called Oriental Tea and Coffee. It's a nice, simple and clean design of a Oriental tea and coffee house. Now, when recreating or creating a design, the best approach is to see what makes the logo. Like in the case of this logo, I can see that it was built with a slightly transformed square in the middle, two bars, one on top and one in the bottom. We got a symbol right here and some typography in the bottom. And that's basically it. The rest is simple transformations and coloring. I think that this is the best approach to take, and if you follow this path, your designing process will become much smoother. But enough of that. Let's get our hands dirty and start creating the Oriental Tea and Coffee logo. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna grab my rectangle tool and, holding down the Shift key, create a square like so. For now, I'm not going to play with the colors. I want to create the basic shapes, so I'll just leave it with a black stroke and no fill. Now I need to create the top and the bottom bar, and for that I'll grab the line segment tool and create the top bar like so. Of course, I could now go to the bottom and create a second one, but I'll simply grab this one, hold down the Shift key and the Alt key, and drag this guy down to create a duplicate like so. Okay, the original, as we can see, has this middle square slightly dented, and we will create this effect with pucker and bloat. The technique we already learned when we talked about applying effects to type. So, I'll select my square, go to the Appearance palette, select the stroke, go down to the Effects symbol, choose Distort and Transform, and Pucker and Bloat. I want to make sure that the preview is checked so I can see that when I pucker the square, it starts to look like the original square. But I don't want to go too crazy. I think I'll stick with not more than 5%. Okay, before we move on to the bars, let me point out something real quick. As we already know, each effect we apply in the Appearance palette is live, which means we can edit it. But when we are happy with it and we don't want it to be live anymore, we need to go to Object, Expand Appearance, which basically made our square a flat object. And now the bars. As we can see in the original, the bars are quite thick and have round edges. Now, you might think that we've created them in the incorrect way, that we should have used the rounded rectangle tool instead of the line tool. Well, of course, you could do that, but in this case, it's better to create the bars in a way I'm about to show you. Besides, I promise you to teach you a few new tricks, and this is one of them. So, with my bars selected, I'm gonna go to the Stroke palette in the right panel, and I'm gonna make them pretty thick. Maybe just like so. Now, to give the bars rounded edges, I will simply choose this middle option right here, which makes the cap round. And voila! The caps of the bars are rounded. Pretty cool, huh? Now that we have the base shapes created, we can start coloring them. I've set up a few color swatches just so the process of coloring doesn't consume too much of our time. So, I want the middle square, the base of our logo, to have a dark brown stroke, like so. And I want it to have a gradient fill, so I'll choose the gradient and change the colors of it to light brown and even lighter brown. And I want to make it a radial gradient. Of course, the middle of the square has to be lighter, so if it is not in your case, try reversing the gradient. I also want the bars to have a gradient because I want to give them a bit of depth. So I'll select both of the bars and I'll apply gradient to them. I want it to be a linear gradient with a 90-degree angle. And I want to change the colors to dark and lighter brown. And I want to reverse the gradient of the bottom bar just so it looks like the shadow is going inwards. As you probably remember, in the original logo, the bars had something that looked like additional bars on top of them, just to simulate material revolving around them. So to create them, I will simply select both of the bars, copy them, and paste them in front. Of course, I don't want them to be as long, so I will make them shorter in my beloved control panel. I will set the origin of the transformation I'm about to create to center, and I'll make the bars significantly shorter, just like so. Okay, the last thing to do is to give the new bars some definition as well. I'll start with getting rid of the round caps. I'll also change their fill to a different gradient, a lighter brown gradient. And I'm going to change the angle of the gradient to 90. And I think I'll reverse the bottom bar's gradient. Now, the last thing to do is to make the new bars stand out just a bit more. And for that, I'll select the top one, copy and paste it in front, give it a simple dark brown stroke, and make it 2 points thick, and nudge it down just a bit. Now, with this new bar still selected, I'm going to drag it down, holding down the Shift and the Alt keys to make a duplicate. Okay, now that we have the base shape created, we can start creating the symbol and the typography to finish the logo off. And we will do that in the next video.